Hi everyone, welcome to Olive City Homestead. So in today's video, we're going to talk about a small garden. Gardening a lot of food and some pretty flowers in a very small space. It's totally doable and it's totally a lot of fun. Back in the spring, I talked about my kitchen garden, the garden I have right outside my back door, and I said I'd show it to you guys, and I just never got around to it because there was always so much to show in the main garden tours. I never even got around to all of that. But today I was outside and I thought, oh my goodness, this looks so pretty. I need to show you guys. We have moved into fall and winter crops, although there's some perennial stuff here like strawberries, but still, it's the point I want to make is valid whether it's spring, summer, winter, fall. And that is that you do not have to have a lot of land to grow your own food and enjoy yourself outside in your garden. Plus, it's super convenient. So let's get started on this quick tour now. So when you step out the back door, this is what you see. And that was the whole purpose, to have ease of access here. Well, that was half the purpose. The other half of the purpose for this kitchen garden was to show that you don't need 2.5 acres or even a half an acre. You don't need a huge yard even to have enough veggies to be of benefit to you and for you to enjoy. So I tried to put everything in containers that would fit a small side yard or on a small balcony. And what I did was I used an old picnic table that I have, and I've got a variety of container sizes set up there. And let's just do a quick little tour, since I never take you guys here on my full veggie garden tour. Now I have a lot of starts here too, so you won't be able to see those growing yet very well, but also accidents. So for instance, this little flower here, which I at the moment can't recall the name, broke off of the larger flower, so I plopped it in there. It may or may not take, but I have had a lot of success doing that, so I keep doing it. And I also have, let's see, what is that? Those are some peppers coming up, Aurora peppers. Rather late, probably won't come to anything at this point, being mid-November already, but you never know. Some more flowers. That's all that's in that one so far. Might stick something else in there, but... And here we have some walking green onions, which were a transplant from little tiny bulbils as they grow. I'll put a link to the video I have about Egyptian walking onions because they are magnificent. They are no work at all, and they continually self-propagate. And the little bulbils that they put off on the top, you just pop them off and you can plant them anywhere you want. Just stick them in the dirt and they grow new walking onions. And they do this, at least for me, they do it twice a year, so it's great. Also in here, oh, here's some more flowers that were dying or were just extra. That's a pansy that a squirrel ate to nothing, but I think it's coming back now, and that is a little echinacea, tiny little one-leaf thing that we'll see if it comes back. I like to do that. Here we have some alyssum. I like to mix flowers in with my veggies, and a little bok choy coming up there. Bok choy like the cool, so I think that one will do all right. And some snapdragons along with a very, very tall but still producing tomato plant. This is the kind that produces small to medium-sized tomatoes. I think it might be aroma, but I'm not positive. I planted so many tomatoes this year, and this was not a great year for tomatoes, but I just picked about 8 that were probably twice as big as this a few days ago. So this is still producing. Over here, I've got a mixture of all kinds of things. So we'll do the top of the table first. These are lettuces, different kinds. This is Freckles, which I just love. And this is a mix, and I've never been able to pronounce that word. I should look it up, how you say it. Mesclun. Basically, it's a mixture. So these are all lettuce that I planted from seed, and then when they got to be this size, just about, I transplant them in here. Here's some more of those walking onions that I told you I popped the little bulbils in. When I pop them in, they're really small. Sometimes they barely have, well, not even half of that, probably a third of that, about that high when I pop them in the ground. My problem with onions and some other plants is I tend to overwater them, but as soon as it starts raining, I won't water at all, and then nature does a much better job of watering than me. This is one of those flowers that broke off. This is a geranium, and I have found geranium are one of the best for if they break off, just stick the branch in the ground and it grows. Okay, I'm not a big geranium fan, but that one is a really pretty purple one, so I like it. Got some old Swiss chard there, but it's starting to send up some new growth at the bottom. This is holy basil, so very good for different medicinal purposes. Probably going to have some more holy basil right there since I'm doing that. This is some strawberries. Oh, got a few there. They're new. We'll see how they do. This is a really old banana pepper plant. However, it's sending out some new growth, and I'm hoping I can overwinter it, and it'll be really good in the spring. Here's some more lettuce I recently transplanted, Freckles. And I have some bok choy coming up in here. Just one on this one? Yeah, in this one I have several bok choy coming up. Bok choy grow super fast. They're super delicious. And they like the cold, so I'm hoping that does really well. And some more alyssum. Alyssum looks like it dies back entirely, but it continually sends out new growth. So more lettuce. That's just a green one. What was the name of that? Oh my gosh, my brain is not functioning today. But maybe I'll look it up and put a note here for you on the video. Now here is something that I, get my shadow out of the way, that I direct seeded into the dirt. This is Tom Thumb lettuce. Here's some more Tom Thumb lettuce that I direct seeded, and that one's getting bigger because it came up alone. If they come up in 2s or 3s, they don't get big, so then I have to separate them, which is really simple to do actually. And so I did that the other day with some of these, and now they're going to start getting bigger. There's a random echinacea, and this is a sprouting broccoli coming back now. And some more lettuce, pretty gazania. I love planting flowers in amongst my veggies, both in this little kitchen garden and over in my main veggie garden. Here I've got more walking onions and several different kinds of lettuces. Now, the whole point is I can come out my back door, and which is right there, you can see the door. I can harvest lettuce for a quick meal when I am not wanting to go out farther when it's cold and rainy in the winter. This is another holy basil. I like the structure of that plant. And here we have some alyssum, another Swiss chard, some more walking onions just starting out. Okay, so this is about the size that they are when you first plant them. And, oh, that's a verbena. And this is, I just transplanted this here. It came up from where I direct seeded it out in the main garden, but it was in the shade, and I think it needed more sun. This is a purple Thai basil. And we have some more lettuce here and a flower. I think that's, I think it's a dahlia, but I think now that I'm wrong, actually. I'm so bad. I apologize. I need to look these things up ahead of time. And here I have some, okay, this one I know, osteospermum. Doesn't really look like an osteospermum. Wow, I shouldn't have said I knew it. Here's some more Thai basil, some more lettuce, more walking onions, more alyssum. Here's more Tom Thumb lettuce I've recently planted, all coming up nicely. More Swiss chard and lettuce. More of a mixed lettuce and some Tom Thumb on either side. Here I have another purple basil, some more walking onions, and a regular basil that is gave me a lot during the summer, but it's really on its way out here. But I'm gonna, baby it and see if I can bring it a little more harvest before it dies back. And some lobelia there. And over here I've got a few more strawberries. Some more lettuces and walking onions. More walking onions and alyssum. Verbena and some more strawberries. Down there I have, this is all starts I did. Well, not starts. Yeah, a little bit of worm damage, but I got the worms off. I found them and got them off. So these are now going to be real healthy and grow strong. They're purple tree kale. And then Right there, I've got a pretty little viola. I had kids who were in orchestras and bands, and so I'm always going to want to say a viola, but they're violas. So there you go. That is my little kitchen garden. And right now it has mostly lettuces and walking onions with some herbs and strawberries. In the summer, it had more tomatoes. I had a lot of yellow pear tomatoes here, and it had a lot of different herbs, a lot of basils that were really healthy and doing well. And what else did it have? Oh, it had a lot of peppers that did real well while they were here. So, you know, changing it up now that it's cooling off, and always including some flowers. But really, this proves rather that you can, you know, do a lot in a very small space. Now, my one challenge I have had, but you know, I just need to address it better, which is that this side here, let's put it this way. This side here, it's in sun right now. It's about 1:30, but it gets the most shade of anywhere on this, in this area. Because of the way the sun moves across, that side gets the most shade along with right here. That's why I have no plants right here. The table and these crates pretty much block most of the sun here. So what I've done is put a few things over here. That is a purple tree kale, and it's doing real well. That was a cutting. There I've got some chamomile, and here I've got a little row of brand new walking onions I put in. That's empty. I'm going to put something else there. And right over here, I have some more purple tree kale looking beautiful, sending up new growth right there that came from a really thick cutting. I didn't think that one would take, but it did. So did that one. This one doesn't look as good, but it did take. I can tell it took. It's just struggling right now. And then some walking onions and some little Tom Thumb lettuce coming up. So yeah, I moved those out because they just weren't getting enough sun at the end there. So the thing is, though, you would have plants that would much appreciate the sun, shade during the middle of summer. So that would be a better spot. So yeah, I say you can do a lot in a small space, and I'm really, really happy with how this is going. The watering took a little while to figure out, and that is something I should point out. When you do crates like this, you do need to put in drainage holes, and I had this idea to have them here so then the water would drain down into here. I haven't really seen that happening. I think that's because I don't water so much that it's going to soak all the way down this long crate and come out. I have tested it. It does drain. I have once or twice tested it, but I don't usually water that much. So, but anyway, you do need drainage of some sort. And even containers that you buy like this that are meant for flowers probably that have drainage holes, I have found they're often not enough and that the plant still gets waterlogged. So I've made extra drainage holes on the bottom of those with, I use my soldering iron because that's super simple. These little tubs that I got from the Dollar Tree, they're about 6 inches deep. And that is plenty to grow a lot of things in. Flowers, certainly, berries, lettuce. A lot of things don't need that much space. But again, you have to put drainage in them or everything will just die off. So that's an important point. And you might say, well, you shouldn't put draining containers directly on wood. It'll rot the wood. That's very true. But I don't really care with this. This picnic table was here when I moved here, and it's probably 30 or 40 years old, and it looks horrible, and so I don't really care about it. It's really solid, though. In fact, I'm not sure why I have these saucers and water catchment plates under here, because they're really not necessary for me with this table. But if I had a nice table, I would definitely make sure I had something to catch the water that was draining. But overall, I am super happy with how this has gone, and I think it shows you that you do not need to plant in the ground, and you do not need to have a lot of space to grow a lot of vegetables and even fruits with those berries, you know, all year round, actually. In fact, if I hadn't already planted my carrots and parsnips and cabbages, and garlics and onions in the ground out in my main garden out there, That's part of it anyway. If I hadn't already done that, I certainly could have grown some of that here. I made a conscious choice to put all my lettuce here and a few herbs, and then there's things that are perennial like my berries and my walking onions and things. But yeah, I just decided lettuce was the thing. I didn't want to have to go out and clip little leaves off, in a rainstorm. I just wanted to be able to step out the back door for that. But you could put a variety of all those vegetables I just mentioned in an area this small for the winter and grow it all quite nicely. And then in the summer, change it up and grow all those summer vegetables. Crates that are this big as this red one here, or up here, these purple ones, they're totally big enough to grow things like yellow squash in. I did that actually in this container. And I grew full-size cherry tomato plants in here, and they worked fine. I would definitely say to use something at least this big. This is an 18-gallon crate. You can get these all year round at places like Walmart, Target, and others. And they're normally priced $5, the cheapest I've seen regular price. I actually got these. They're kind of, I said purple, but they're more like a wine colored. I got them for $1.50 back in the spring. And you know why? Because I asked the guy, he was standing there, I said, are these really $1.50 like the sign says? And he says, yeah, that's the wrong color for spring, so we're clearing them out. I'm like, okay. And I bought a bunch of them for $1.50, and they last for years. If you would left plastic like that sitting out in the yard and it wasn't full of dirt and you weren't watering it and using it, it would harden and crack and it would wear out very quickly. However, when it's full of dirt and you're using it, it lasts for years and years. I have some friends who've been doing this with this type of crate for probably 6 years now, and theirs are still going strong. I do like to get the kind that are kind of what I call flexible. They're a little bit soft and flexible. They're not hard and brittle. And do not get the clear ones, the kind of translucent ones, those clear ones. Those, for whatever reason, well, I guess the sun goes through them in a different way, and I've had no success with those. They crack almost immediately. The only thing I can see that you might use those for is if you were to turn it upside down, like as a greenhouse for starting your seeds. But otherwise, I wouldn't use those to plant in. But I highly recommend a kitchen garden right outside your door, especially during the winter when you might not want to trek out to the main garden in a bad weather situation. So if you'd like to see this garden again in the spring and summer when I have all new crops in it other than the perennials I enjoy, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel now and hit the notification bell. That way you'll know whenever I upload new content, which is at least twice a week. And it definitely will put you on that list to see this garden, which I'm going to show you when I take the winter crops out and put in the summer ones, probably in March and April. Also, I will show this garden throughout the winter to see how these crops are doing. I'm really eager to see if the bok choy comes through. So if you enjoyed today's video, if you love gardening tips and just seeing pretty flowers, lots of veggies, and occasionally some chickens, ducks, sheep, or cats, then yeah, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you again real soon.